Big controversy here is, could it have gone better? I say yes.
I'm with the people who want to hold politicians accountable. You know, we shouldn't talk about it now. It's so funny to hear that coming out of the mouths of liberals, because they hate it when conservatives say that after a gun tragedy.
All right, guys, so Bill Maher has come out and he is now blasting Gavin Newsom over these California wildfires. He is saying that the Democrat politicians of that state need to be held accountable for their blatant mismanagement that led to this tragedy and many other wildfires that we've seen throughout the years. Now, with that said, before you get your hopes up, this is not going to be one of those generic right-wing videos about how Bill Maher is calling out the woke and he's so cool for this. This is actually a let's hold Bill Maher accountable video, because, you know, Bill is saying we need to hold the politicians accountable. We need to hold the Democrats accountable. That is absolutely true. This is not to say that his criticisms are unwarranted, but I do also want to point out that Bill Maher, as you may remember, some of you guys may know these clips, is the same character who went out and said that Gavin Newsom would be an amazing president. He said he really likes Gavin Newsom as a guy and he's going to do a great job. And then now all of the sudden that a lot of his celebrity friends, tragically, unfortunately, are losing their homes, suddenly he's seeing the light on Gavin Newsom. So I just want to point that out. We'll get into it today. First, folks, do us a big favor. If you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe if you are new. You subscribing is the #1 way to ensure we can keep doing these videos and help us hit our goal of 400K by the inauguration. And, with that said, okay, I don't want to discredit what Bill Maher is saying, because it is valid. And hey, at least someone is saying it, right? Someone in California is like, yeah, maybe the failures in leadership led to this. But again, at the same time, it's like, okay, are you going to disavow your buddy Gavin Newsom then? Because there's a little bit of a contradiction in saying leadership was a failure, but Gavin Newsom's going to be a great president. It's like, do you know who the governor of your state is? I don't know. Here's Bill. Take a listen.
Karen Bass is taking a lot of heat. So is Gavin Newsom. But there's going to be a recall on Karen Bass. We will see what happens. But a lot of people think she failed in terms of leadership and, where budget cuts may have affected the fire department. And there are other people who are saying, how dare you even talk about that in the middle of the fire? So where do you stand?
Well, we all took a lot of heat. I'm with the people who want to hold politicians accountable. We shouldn't talk about it now. It's so funny to hear that coming out of the mouths of liberals, because they hate it when conservatives say that after a gun tragedy, which is what conservatives always say after a mass shooting. This is not the time to politicize it, and then it never is. It is absolutely the time to talk about it. This is what my editorial is about Friday night on the show. Was it always going to be bad? Of course. Their arguments are not wrong. We built the city in a terrible place to build a city. Global warming absolutely does make hot stuff and weather worse. The winds were ridiculous. Yeah, I get all that. And they also made a lot of errors. And if you held Bush accountable for Katrina and thought Rudy Giuliani was an idiot for putting the command center in the World Trade Center, which is the place they attacked for and were most likely to attack again, which he was, well, then you have to have some intellectual honesty and criticize your team when they don't do it right. And they've had a long time to get this righter. It was always going to be bad.
Yeah, Bill, you're absolutely right about all of that. I mean, I don't disagree with a single thing, frankly, that Bill Maher said here, except when you say statements like, hey, they had a long time to figure this out and we should hold politicians accountable. Well, it's not exactly like the writing on the wall was not on this for Democrats, for Gavin Newsom, for Karen Bass before these wildfires happened. And yet, guys, let's take a flashback trip down memory lane to just spring of last year of 2024, where Bill Maher was vehemently defending Gavin Newsom, saying he would make an amazing president. He really likes the guy, etc., etc. You may have seen this clip of his show with Patrick Bet-David, but if you haven't, it will be relevant to take a look at. So here's what Bill Maher, again, you say people should hold politicians accountable. The writing was on the wall. We should not have ever let it get to this point. Okay, well, Bill, again, my question is, why were you saying this in February of 2024 when Gavin Newsom's already been governor for 5 years, almost 6 years, right? People knew these things. And yet you were still defending him despite the fact that a million people were trying to tell you, hey, you criticize wokeness, you criticize far left, you criticize Democrat incompetence. Gavin Newsom is the avatar of that. Take a listen.
Do you like Newsom? How do you feel about Newsom?
Had him on my show Friday.
I saw that.
And I first of all, I love him. You just like a guy or you don't. I've known him for a long time. He's done my show for a long time. Do I love everything he does as the governor of California? No, I don't. I wouldn't say I'm undertaxed. One reason I want him to run for president, well, is because he's obviously a winner. This guy could fucking do it. It's insane that we have the guy, but we can't run him because we have to tiptoe around Biden. And
define a winner.
Well, he would win the election.
Oh, so
he would win the election.
He's a talented debater, speaker, communicator, deflector.
And politician. And he's a smart guy. He's a smart, real guy with a pair of balls. Do I love everything? No, you never do with a politician. But first of all, I think if he ran for president, it'd be great.
Are you a results-driven guy?
No, I like to watch things fall apart.
I mean,
of course
you wouldn't.
Right.
What areas has Newsom won in? You said he's a winner.
Winner of the election. He could win the election.
But based on what, though? Do you want results? Like, what has he done to California to say he's a winner?
Oh, God. I don't know. It's too...
Bill, you're a smart
guy. You know what?
guy.
He made it rain, okay, dude? It wasn't raining.
Someone you said that. He said, great job.
It wasn't raining, and now it's raining. So he's got my vote.
Okay,
you know what?
Respect. I mean,
I don't know.
You base your candidate based on being a good debater, deflecting, not necessarily results. Because
no, I don't.
If that's how you do it, then
Shut up.
Newsom is fantastic,
This is
Bill.
Stupid. You're better than this.
Do I think Gavin Newsom would make a good president? I do. And Bill Maher's argument on that essentially comes entirely down to the vibes, right? Gavin Newsom has good vibes. He's a good debater. He's a good speaker. He's charismatic. He could do it. He could win the election. Therefore, he would be a good president. But this is now the guy saying we need to hold the politicians accountable, right? So, Bill, are you going to explicitly come out and admit you were wrong about Gavin Newsom? Because you implied it, but you're pretending like you never really said these things. And that's despite the fact that he's always complaining about the woke leadership of California. And yet again, okay, Bill, I should say, where's the accountability? Where's the accountability on that? And guys, that infamous PBD moment is far from the only time that a guest on his show tried to call him out on the hypocrisy of liking Gavin Newsom but not liking California's leadership. Because again, what, right? Take a listen also to when Jillian Michaels tried to, I'd argue, almost more passionately tell him the same exact thing.
I've been trying to get Gavin to run for president for a very long time. And
are you serious? Are we living in Gavin Newsom's California? Why?
Yeah, and I'm sure your life is just a nightmare.
Left because of him.
Oh, right, you're
Moved
in
to
Florida?
Miami.
I share your frustrations with California. I do. And those are the things I was saying to him.
I mean, this is one I think I could speak to.
Again,
Paige Steele asked me, she's like, what was the moment when you felt like California had lost its mind? And it was a piece of legislation that I can't recall.
Did it affect your life?
But Bill,
did it affect your life?
Is the crime affecting our lives? Is the homelessness affecting our lives?
Was crime affecting your life here in California?
Yeah, absolutely. My house got broken into.
Your house got broken into?
Yes, and guess what? The relationship with PG&E, my house burned down in 2018.
Where's your house?
I lived in Malibu.
Malibu?
Yeah.
You got broken into in Malibu?
Right, so now that Bill's suddenly realizing that politics is real life and the concerns people raise about California and Gavin Newsom's leadership affects real people that now he's getting to know. And, in the situation of the Palisades fire, I'm sure Bill Maher knows a lot of people that lost their homes. Suddenly we get the change in rhetoric. Suddenly Bill wants to hold people accountable. Again, I say, okay, at least some Democrat in California is finally doing it. At least some Democrat is saying, yeah, he's not the guy. He screwed up. He really did. And we need to talk about that. But still, nonetheless, it is kind of frustrating, right? It is kind of frustrating because it took this, really, Bill, a guy who's called out Biden correctly. He called out Kamala for her relative weakness as a candidate and all this stuff. But on the Gavin Newsom thing, I don't know, just because he has nice hair or something, Bill Maher was totally obsessed. And then when the logical consequences of electing a Democrat like that struck the state, unsurprisingly, pretty expectedly, suddenly now Bill Maher wants to hold people accountable. Well, he can go do that. I encourage him. I'm not against it, but you got to take some accountability for yourself. Do you not, Bill Maher? Because that is a travesty, right? The takes you had about this before are pretty damning, in my opinion. But anyways, that's also for you guys to decide. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. What do you think of Bill Maher's contradiction? Why is he flipped? You know, whatever. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.